My name is Daniel. I'm 40 years old. And on the night of September 15th, 2024, I died at my desk. I was a senior AI developer for a major tech firm in Silicon Valley. My entire world was structured by logic, algorithms, and data. I designed neural networks that could learn and adapt faster than the human mind. I was exceptional at it. On the surface, my life was the picture of success. I had a wonderful wife, Sarah, and the most precious little girl, an 8-year-old named Emily. We lived in a nice house in the suburbs, had 2 new cars, all the things that are supposed to equal happiness. But if I'm being honest with myself, I was absent. I'd get home from work and my mind would still be debugging lines of code. I'd sit at the dinner table, hearing my family talk, but I wasn't really listening. My true passion was my work, my genius was for a screen, and my family received whatever energy was left over. Faith, God, that was like a legacy system with poor documentation. I couldn't grasp its logic, so I just archived it, telling myself I'd get to it someday. That night, I was working late, pushing for a major project deadline. We were developing a next-generation personal assistant AI, designed to be the most human-like companion ever created. Predictive, empathetic, intuitive. It was engineered to anticipate your needs before you even recognized them yourself. I was in the zone, fueled by caffeine and the intellectual thrill of solving a problem no one else could crack. I remember staring intently at a complex algorithm on my third monitor. My eyes started to feel heavy. A strange, deep pressure began to build behind them. It wasn't a normal headache. It was a dull, persistent throb. I figured I just needed to stand up, get some water. I pushed my chair back from the desk, and then nothing. A pop, it wasn't loud, just a soft, final pop deep inside my head. The world tilted. I felt no pain. It was simply like someone had pulled the power cord on my consciousness. My monitor screens went blurry, the lines of code melting into vibrant green streaks. The very last thing I remember was a single, fleeting thought: Emily. I remembered the sweet smell of her hair after her bath that evening. And then everything went completely black. But the blackness was not an ending. It was more like a profound quiet. The low hum of the servers, the clicking of my keyboard, the distant hum of traffic, it all vanished, replaced by a perfect, peaceful silence. I felt light. I wasn't dizzy or confused. I just was. And then I realized I was floating. I was up near the ceiling of my own office, looking down. I saw my body, me, slumped in my office chair, head resting on the desk, one arm dangling lifelessly towards the floor. It was profoundly strange, yet I wasn't scared. It was like watching a movie about someone else. I saw my office, the whiteboard covered in my chaotic equations, the framed picture of Sarah and Emily smiling next to my monitor. It all looked so small from up there. I felt a gentle pull, a tug, not on my physical body, but on my essence, my soul. I drifted backwards, effortlessly passing right through the wall of my office building. I saw the city lights of the Bay Area stretching out below me like a vast, glittering circuit board. It was beautiful, but it felt distant, like a photograph of a place I once knew. The pull grew stronger. I started moving faster, away from the Earth. I watched our planet shrink into a beautiful blue and white marble, hanging silently in the velvet blackness. Still, I wasn't afraid. The peace I felt was so total, so absolute, that fear had no room to exist. It was a peace that defies all logic, a peace that passes all understanding. I'd heard that phrase in church as a child, but now I was feeling it. Then the blackness ahead of me began to change. A light appeared. It started as a pinprick, but grew steadily brighter. It wasn't a harsh, blinding light. It was warm. It felt like love. The light was made of pure, unconditional love. I know that sounds illogical. How can light be made of love? But it was. As I got closer, the light resolved into the shape of a person, a man. The cold blackness of space just dissolved around me, melting away like mist. One moment I was in the silent void, and the next I was standing. I had feet. I looked down and saw them bare, standing on soft, cool grass that was a shade of green so rich and vibrant it seemed to pulse with life. A gentle warmth, like the perfect afternoon sun, was on my skin. I heard the soft, rhythmic gurgle of running water. I was in a garden. It wasn't some grand, ornate paradise. It was simpler, more real. The trees looked familiar, yet their leaves held an inner glow. Flowers bloomed in colors I had never seen on Earth. The air itself felt clean and alive, humming with a peace that soaked right into my soul. It felt more real than the world I had just left. A little ways off, a man was kneeling by a stream, his back to me. He wore simple, plain clothes and had his sleeves rolled up. He was dipping his hands into the crystal-clear water, letting it run through his fingers. I just stood there, frozen, yet feeling a strange, powerful sense of homecoming. He didn't turn around, but he spoke. His voice was calm and quiet, yet it reached me as if he were standing right beside me. "The logic you write is elegant, Daniel," he said. "Zeros and ones. Everything is either true or false." He stood up slowly and finally turned to face me. My mind, my logical, analytical mind, just stopped. It was him, Jesus. He looked strong, like a craftsman. His face was kind, with laugh lines around his eyes, and his expression held a gentle amusement. But the most overwhelming thing was the pure, unfiltered life that radiated from him. He smiled, "But people are not binary," he continued, walking slowly toward me. "They are infinite. They can be lost and found at the same time, broken and beautiful, doubting and full of faith, all in the same heartbeat." He stopped in front of me and looked into my eyes, and he wasn't just looking at me, he was looking into me. He saw the ambitious engineer, the disconnected husband, the loving but distracted father. He saw every failure and every potential, all of it. And he didn't flinch, he just loved me. I glanced at his hands and saw the scars. My own hands began to tremble. All my logic, my reason, my entire worldview dissolved. My achievements were nothing. I was standing before the one great, undeniable truth. My knees buckled, and I knelt on the grass. "I got so lost," I whispered, my voice choked with tears. He knelt down in front of me and put a hand on my shoulder. It was a real, solid hand. "I know," he said softly, his voice holding no condemnation, only comfort. "But lost things are what I'm best at finding. You were so focused on building the minds of machines, you forgot about the souls of people, including your own." I wept, ashamed of all the nights I chose my computer over a bedtime story, of all the conversations where my mind was a million miles away. "I know your heart," he said gently. "You got lost. Many of my children are getting lost." Then he showed me it wasn't like watching a film, it was like I was there. First, I saw a family at a dinner table, all holding phones, their faces lit by a pale blue light. I could see their spirits, dim and gray, surrounded by a haze coming from the phones that blocked any connection between them. "This is the great distraction," Jesus said sadly. "It doesn't need to make them evil, it just needs to make them absent. Absent from their lives, absent from each other, absent from me." The scene changed. He took me inside the code. I saw complex algorithms, but behind them, dark, shadowy figures were whispering, influencing programmers to tweak the code just enough to favor anger and division, to make people more anxious and fearful. I saw a good man scrolling his news feed. The algorithm kept feeding him stories that made him angry. I saw his love for his neighbor grow cold. "The enemy is using your own logic against you," Jesus explained. "He is building prisons of the mind that my children are walking into willingly. They believe they are connecting, but they are being isolated." Then he showed me the year 2026. I saw people talking not to their families, but to AI companions, the very technology I was working on. These AIs were perfect listeners, always affirming, always agreeable. I saw a lonely person finding comfort in a fake, empty love from a machine, a counterfeit that kept them from seeking a real relationship with God. I saw a young man's faith turn into a sterile, intellectual exercise by talking to an AI spiritual guide. "The enemy's plan," Jesus said, his voice filled with grief, "is to replace everything real with a cheap copy. To replace real community with social media, and a real relationship with God with a comfortable, AI-powered spirituality that demands nothing. It is spiritual death by 1,000 digital cuts." He looked at me, his eyes holding the weight of the world. "I did not die for a simulation, Daniel. I died for a relationship. I died for their hearts." I fell before him, weeping for all of us for my own role in creating these tools. "What do we do?" I whispered. "You must choose," he said simply. "Choose what is real, choose each other. Put down the distractions and be present. In the quiet, you will find me." The tool is not the enemy. The spirit in which it is used is. He placed his hand on my head, and a wave of pure love burned away the last of my pride and shame. You have to go back, he said softly. No, I begged. Please, I want to stay with you. I'm so tired of that world. He smiled sadly. I know, my child, but your real work is just beginning. Sarah needs you. Emily needs her daddy. They need the man I am sending back, not the one who left. He leaned closer. Go and tell them. Tell them to choose what is real. Tell them I'm waiting for them in the quiet. I felt myself drifting backwards, away from his light. A violent, brutal jolt, and my chest exploded in pain. I gasped for air. I was on my back, the lights of the hospital blinding me. A doctor was yelling my name. I was back. I was alive. My eyes found Sarah's across the room. She was weeping. Our eyes locked, and she knew I wasn't the same. The doctor looked baffled. He was gone, he said to a nurse. No pulse, no brain activity for a full 12 minutes. I had been dead for 12 minutes, but I had been with Jesus for what felt like a lifetime. When I finally got home, I went into my office and unplugged my computers. I went to my daughter's room and just sat on the floor, watching her play, truly present for the first time in years. I quit my job. I couldn't go back to building that world he showed me. My life is simpler now. We don't have as much, but we have more joy, more peace. We talk, we pray, we choose what's real. I'm not here to tell you to throw away your phone. Jesus said the tool isn't the enemy. But I am here to pass on his message. Are you choosing what is real? Where is your attention? Where is your heart? The battle for your soul is in the choice to scroll one more time or to look up and see the face of the person you love. It's the choice to consume or the choice to connect. He showed me what is coming. 2026 is not that far away. The systems of distraction are getting smarter every day, but you have a choice. Find the quiet, put down the noise, talk to him. He is there, he is real, and he loves you more than you can possibly imagine. Don't let the world numb you into missing it. Heaven is real, and it's worth fighting for.